Welcome everybody to another quick tutorial. In this part we will talk about pyro simulation that is being taken from an image, and here we will define where the burn and the temperature will be added. So we have this dynamic and animated burning and flame simulation with the smoke. So this is in the middle of the render, couple of frames. When it's done, I will upload it to my Patreon page, where you will find all of my scene files already uploaded there. So feel free to support me over there, and it will be very much appreciated for me to develop and add more files and examples. So this is the scene file. I have environment light with a night scene and a couple of cameras. The first one from top view, second one slightly angled view. Okay, so I have a grid also that I applied a small material black rubber, but I decreased the roughness and the index of refraction, and the reflectivity is very low. Here in the geo, I started with a grid. Let's add some texture, then I transform it to a proper size. I increase also the rows and column. The transformation just slightly at top of the grid, so when I put the pyro box, it will not cut the smoke from below. Then I added a UV quick shade, and that's the Houdini logo. As you can see, you can get the Houdini logo from sidefx website. If you go down to the press here, and here you can find all type of logo that you can freely use. This one I use, and when you download it, you have a couple of file type you can play with. So you have the JPEG, the PNG, and the black. This one with transparency, and this one. So after we added the UV quick shade, I applied the texture here, and I'm projecting from Y, from the top. Then I use texture to point, HDA. So what this will do, it will transfer the texture from the vertex to the point. So here we have at the point level, we have CD, point, and UV. So now we have the color information on points, and I applied the same image. This one, that's why you need the UV. Okay. After that, I did a split. The split is to remove the black color inside the logo, this helix, from this part. So we have two parts. This part that will emit only smoke, and this orange part will emit only fire, and the fire will create smoke later on. So the split is according to the color information, the CD value, because here we have black, so any color at the red channel above 0.1 will be excluded. So as you can see here, I have this part separated alone. After that, I branch to two trees. The first tree will tackle this part where I need to add burn and temperature. So when we go to the Pyro Solver, it will ignite and emit flames and fire. And this part, I will add density and temperature, so it will emit only smoke. Then I join them both together. So after the split, I added attribute triangle and in the attribute triangle I added a variable float r, which is equal to cdr. So I have this value. This is the value. So this is the value, the cdr. Then I added this attribute float temperature, and it's equal to the red channel. Also I added a burn attribute, and it's equal to the red channel, and a density I kept it at 1 in case I need it. On the other side, where we have only the inside of the helix of the logo, also the same thing, I'm using the red channel. Temperature, I added this temperature, the red channel +2, and I added some density, and the burn I kept it 0, so there is no flame will happen here. Then I added attribute adjust node, and I'm playing with the burn, the one we created here. So this is the burn. I'm adding minimum and maximum value, so I don't have 0, it's 0.1 to 1, and it's more toward the 0.1 according to the ramp here. On the other side, I added the same node attribute adjust to float, and I'm playing with the temperature. There's no 0 temperature, 0.1 and maximum of 2, which we clamped later, and I'm choosing the hell curve ramp. After that, I went to the side of the fire, and I added attribute adjust to float. Again, I'm playing with the burn, and I'm animating the noise. And if you can see here, the element size, it starts large and then it go down slowly. If we view it, so you see the burn, this is how it look. So I have big areas, big element size, but it start empty. So this color means there is no burn at the beginning, and slowly it will creep and start to create the fire, as we saw here. So at the beginning nothing, and slowly it start to creep in and creating the fire. So wherever we have other than purple higher value, we will have fire like this. It will be animated through the whole scene. Here also I'm playing with the temperature, so let's view the temperature. So it starts red and go down, then go up. I'm just tweaking it to have more dynamic and more pleasant looking smoke. Then I'm merging both of them together. So this is the temperature, and this is the burn. See, the burn only in this area, nothing inside. What else we have? Density, it's not changed, it's fixed, and temperature, these are the ones. So these are the attributes that we need for the Pyro: burn, density, and temperature. Then I added a Pyro source, and in the Pyro source I am generating a density, burn, temperature according to the value that we created on the top of the node. Okay, see, there's no velocity. I am relying on the Pyro sim or the solver to create the velocity with Beyonce. So let me remove this. Then we added volume rasterize attribute to convert all these value to a volume. So it should be the density, the burn, and the temperature. And I'm connecting the voxel size to the Pyro solver, same voxel size. So this is how it will look. See how it's changing. Anyway, now in the Pyro solver, If we view it, I keep the voxel size at 0.8. Advection, I use single projection. The double is more accurate. I'm closing below the boundary, so no smoke will go down. It will hit the ground and go up. No collision. Sourcing, I'm sourcing the density, the one we created at the top of the tree. Also we have some temperature, but one thing, the density, I'm using the bull operation, so it's creeping in slowly, so the smoke will come very slow at strength of 1 for the acceleration. Also temperature, I kept it as default, and the burn will be converted to the target field of flame, so we'll have the fire and there is no velocity. Fields, I'm keeping the dissipation very low at 0.1, but it's being controlled by the divergence field between 0.2 and 1.5 in a linear fashion. Also I'm emitting smoke from the flame, very tiny smoke, just a scale of 1, but between these two range 25 to 5 only. Above that and below that there is no smoke. I'm adding a lot of diffusion, 0.16 also, and the flames being created here also. Shape, bouncy, I kept it 0.5, so it will not rise very quickly. I added some wind, 0.2 in the X direction, and disturbance I added 0.55, so I don't have a mushroom shape, sort of, and I kept it block size not continuous. Turbulence, I added a large amount of turbulence, and it's being controlled by the threshold of the temperature between 0.9 and 2 only, and a little bit of shredding to break up the shape. Here I added gas velocity scale, and I kept the threshold according to the velocity, so we have some buff here and there. Between 50 and 100 it will trigger, and it only will trigger and start to push it up this velocity on the maximum side of the threshold at a range of 1.2, because if you go higher it will just scatter very quick and spread everywhere. Then the second micro solver, gas vortex confinement, and kept it very little on 1.2 with a little of remapping, and mainly on the lower side, so we have some more vortex. Little bit of sharpening at 0.55 according to the density, and then we have the gas dissipate again, and the diffusion rate is 0.6, so the smoke will disappear and get blurred and diffused according to the temperature. And then the vorticel being recycled with this box scale, which compensate like small amount here and there, so we have more vortex shape. After that I cache it, so this is some of the result. Just give it a second. Here, as we can see, so it's not rising very high, and we have the fire here. This is like another frame, and the smoke inside, and it's not like one chunk or one piece, because according to the noise we applied it will vary. And this is some advanced frame, and as you can see it will dissipate and get blurred, so we don't have a dense smoke, more like fire look. And this is the fire. Of course with lower voxel size you'll get more details, but this one is sufficient because I'm viewing it from a distance. I wanted to remove the edge for the density, but then I didn't remove because it looked nice to encapsulate the whole logo. Very good. After that, after the cache, I applied a Pyro bake volume node, let it cook. This is the one we will use to render. Now you'll see how it changed. See? So here in the smoke, I added a total of 4 density for the smoke and some shadow, and the color I kept it at the gray zone. I'm scattering the fire so it will affect the smoke, as you can see here, because without it, it will be just a dense smoke. No multi-scattering going inside the smoke, see? Nothing. But when I apply it, we'll get some penetration. And I keep the intensity low, 120, some central or core heat at 5, and this is between 0 and 5. This is where we control it. Added blur and masking, so we have a plausible fire with a smoke shape. In the fire itself, I keep the intensity not high, at like 850. The higher the number, the more bright the fire will be. And I added some masking, so here you will see it's not just a full range of the ramp, but we have some dark area. And the fire is being controlled by the flame, not the temperature. To render it in Karma XPU, here, before that, I quick set up, I created the material which being added here. Inside here you have 2 material, one for the CPU, one for the XPU, both connected to the top level. So remember this one, XPU Pyro Preview Shader. I took it and I added here. So this is what will be used, because by default it will use this one. But because we need XPU, we use this one. Then in the out, I added a Karma node for testing. But let's go inside here. I added a top network. I make the local schedule to use all CPU except one. Here I'm caching with rob fetch this file cache node. So after it will finish, because we have waiting, then we run to the Karma rob. Here I'm animating, rendering this frame range, and the rob fetch I'm rendering it as one chunk. It's not like a work job, so it will go one by one like a simulation, so all frame in one batch. Otherwise it will render 60 frames together and I have only 1 GPU. But with your Patreon support, maybe we can update this computer one day. This is the resolution I'm following, and the rendering engine is the XPU, and the path tracing is 4 time folds. Sampling, I increase the light sampling quality to 2, increasing the limit for the diffuse and the volume, so I have a better, more clean image. And in the image output filter, I'm using the NVIDIA denoiser. After this one finish, it will wait, then it will jump to the second camera, this one. So we have camera 1, camera 2, and then right click, you can add generate nodes, so it will show you how many work job we have, 140, because we have here 140. Then you write dirty and cook this node, and it will go one by one. And currently I am on this level. I will upload this file to Patreon, and thank you very much. Wish to see you in another. But before that, look how is the velocity and the disturbance pushing the flames inside. See, I hope it will look good, and waiting to see your result also. Have a nice day. Thank you.